On October 24, 1988, a day like any other began in the bustling neighborhood of Caballito, Buenos Aires. The city, alive with its usual rhythm, was oblivious to the bizarre chain of events about to unfold. At the heart of this story was Cachy, a poodle who lived in an apartment on the 13th floor. Cachy, like most pets, was a beloved member of his family, known for his playful antics and gentle nature. Little did anyone know, this day would be unlike any other in Cachy's life. Below, on the busy streets, Marta Espina, a 75-year-old woman, walked along Rivadavia Avenue. Marta, with her years of experience in the city, moved with a sense of familiarity and routine. Her steps were unhurried, her mind likely occupied with the day's plans or memories of days gone by. Then, in a tragic twist of fate, Cachy, for reasons unknown, fell from the balcony. He plummeted 13 stories, a small, innocent creature caught in an unforeseen disaster. Below, Marta was walking, completely unaware of the danger hurtling towards her from above. In a horrifying moment, Cachy collided with Marta, and both lives were extinguished instantly, a shocking and tragic end on a street corner in Buenos Aires. The incident quickly drew the attention of bystanders. Among them was Edith Solá, a 46-year-old woman. Drawn by the commotion, Edith hurried to the scene, a mixture of curiosity and concern guiding her steps. However, fate had more tragedy in store. As Edith crossed the street, her focus on the distressing scene, she was struck by a bus. The accident was sudden and fatal, adding another layer of tragedy to an already somber day. But the chain of misfortune didn't end there. An unidentified man, a witness to the string of tragic events, was overwhelmed by what he saw. The shock was too much for his heart to bear. Suffering a heart attack, he collapsed, later dying on the way to the hospital. The aftermath of these events left the community in shock. 4 lives, unconnected in their daily routines, were brought together in a sequence of events that seemed more akin to a tragic screenplay than reality. The story of Cachy the Poodle and the consequent deaths reverberated beyond Caballito, a stark reminder of life's unpredictability. In the heart of Valhalla, New York, at the Westchester Medical Center, July 26, 2001, started like any other day. The hospital buzzed with activity, doctors moved briskly, and nurses attended to their tasks. In one of the rooms, a vital medical procedure was about to take place, an MRI scan for a young boy named Michael Colombini. Michael, just 6 years old, had recently undergone brain surgery to remove a tumor. He was a brave little boy, facing a situation with a courage that belied his years. MRI scans were routine in the medical world, a window into the human body, providing crucial information for doctors. But that day, routine was about to turn into tragedy. The MRI suite was a place where safety protocols were paramount. Magnetic resonance imaging machines, with their powerful magnets, require a strict no-metal environment. This rule was understood, yet, in a moment of human error, it was overlooked. As Michael lay sedated, ready for the scan, a nurse entered the room with an oxygen tank. It was a typical tank, but crucially, it was made of ferrous metal, a material that should never be near an MRI machine. The room, filled with the hum of the machine, was about to become a scene of chaos. The MRI's magnet, silent but forceful, acted like a giant magnet pulling a pin. The oxygen tank was wrenched from the nurse's grasp, turning it into a deadly projectile. It flew across the room with terrifying speed, heading straight towards the MRI bed where Michael lay. The impact was horrific. The tank hit Michael's head, fracturing his skull. In that split second, the room transformed from a place of healing to one of unimaginable horror. The medical staff, trained for emergencies, were stunned by the suddenness and severity of the accident. Efforts to save Michael were immediate and intense, but the damage was severe. The hospital, a place where lives were saved every day, was now the backdrop to a heartbreaking loss. Michael's parents, who had entrusted their child to the care of the medical team, were faced with a reality no parent should ever experience. The aftermath of the accident rippled far beyond the walls of Westchester Medical Center. It became a stark reminder of the importance of safety in medical settings, a lesson learned in the most tragic way possible. The MRI community was shaken, and safety protocols were scrutinized and reinforced worldwide. The legal implications were significant. Michael's family received a $2.9 million settlement, but no amount of money could compensate for the loss of their child. The incident became a reference point for MRI safety, a cautionary tale about the consequences of overlooking routine safety checks. In Oldham, a town in England, Jonathan Capewell, a 16-year-old boy, was known for his particular habit, an obsession with personal hygiene. Jonathan wasn't just concerned about staying clean, he was fixated on always smelling fresh. This fixation led him to use deodorant sprays excessively, a habit that worried his family but seemed harmless to him. Every morning and night, Jonathan's routine was the same. He would meticulously cover his entire body with deodorant spray. The strong scent of the spray filled the house, becoming almost a signature aroma of the home. His parents, Keith and Susan, noticed the excessive use and often cautioned him. They worried about the overpowering smell and the amount he used, but Jonathan always brushed off their concerns. "I just want to smell good," he'd say, a simple explanation for a routine he saw as essential to his well-being. Despite his parents' warnings, Jonathan continued with his routine. The spraying was like a ritual, a necessary part of his day. He would stand in his room, canister in hand, ensuring not a single spot was missed. His dedication to smelling good was unwavering. Then, one fateful day in July 2001, everything changed. Jonathan was found unresponsive. The emergency services were called, but it was too late. The young boy who was just trying to keep himself fresh had met a tragic end. The cause, as later revealed, was as shocking as it was unexpected. An autopsy conducted on Jonathan uncovered a startling fact. His blood contained a lethal level of propane and butane, the propellants found in deodorant sprays. The coroner reported that the concentration was 10 times the lethal dosage. Jonathan had been using so much deodorant in an enclosed space that he had unwittingly inhaled a fatal amount of these toxic gases. The revelation was a grim reminder of the dangers lurking in everyday items. Jonathan's continuous and excessive use of deodorant in his small room had built up a high concentration of these gases in his bloodstream. Each spray, each cloud of deodorant he inhaled had pushed him closer to the brink. Paris in the late 1930s was a city of light and shadows, a place where art and literature thrived. Amidst its bustling streets and vibrant cafes, Arnold Bennett, a distinguished British novelist, found himself immersed in the city's charm. Known for his insightful storytelling, Bennett's presence in Paris was a nod to the city's magnetic pull on literary figures. On a cool evening, Bennett and his wife, Dorothy, found themselves in a cozy Parisian restaurant. The atmosphere was lively, with the clatter of dishes and the low hum of conversation surrounding them. Across the table, James and Nora Joyce shared anecdotes, their voices weaving through the air, blending with the subtle aromas of French cuisine. As the meal progressed, Bennett, with his characteristic confidence, reached for a glass of tap water. Dorothy, ever cautious, warned him about the water's safety, echoing the waiter's earlier advice. Paris, despite its allure, was notorious for its untreated water. But Bennett, with a dismissive chuckle, drank not once, but twice, his actions speaking of a man unswayed by cautionary tales. 2 days after drinking tap water in a Paris restaurant, Arnold Bennett got seriously sick. He was diagnosed with typhoid fever. Back in 1931, there weren't many options to treat typhoid. Antibiotics, which are now the go-to treatment, weren't commonly used yet. Penicillin had been discovered just a few years earlier, but it wasn't widely available until the 1940s. Bennett's health quickly worsened. The typhoid fever was relentless, and without effective medication, his condition became critical. This was common at the time. Many people died from illnesses like typhoid because the treatments we have today didn't exist. After struggling for several weeks, Bennett passed away on March 27, 1931. His death was a big deal, not just because he was a celebrated writer, but also because it highlighted the lack of effective medical treatments at the time. His choice to ignore the warnings about drinking tap water was a consequence that cost him his life.